Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now it has been a while since I have updated this video series, and that is your account progression guide. Now we can see that the last time I did this video we did not have variant 7 or act 7.2 or Korean's challenges, and those are quite significant changes to the priorities and abilities and choices to make in this content. Right, just to kind of like set up the setting. First and foremost, this is obviously by no means meant to be some sort of Bible. Your actual progression path will significantly depend on your capabilities, on your luck or lack thereof, on your preferences, on your level of commitment, and so on and so forth. But the point of this guide is to guide people who how basically become Cavalier players, and you can do that within first month or a couple of months of you picking this game up, and then it would be like my best attempt to try and guide people through to the very end of what this game has to offer. And again, everybody's individual journey can and more than likely will differ, but this would be the game plan that I have in mind should I start a new account and carry on playing it. Right, so here is the new lay of the land. So it all starts with obviously becoming Cavalier. I do recommend doing that as early as you conceivably can. And as soon as you have a viable option for that 615 crossbones, as soon as you have a viable option for the Ultron and Sentinel, that is the biggest thing that's worth properly pushing for with items, with resources, with boosts, getting it done early as possible. Nothing else really matters. Getting to that cav level is definitely something that the player can do within a couple of months playing this game relatively intensively, or obviously there is nothing wrong with taking your own time and just progressing at whatever pace you feel comfortable with. However, the title is fairly important because that automatically unlocks plenty of content for you, better rewards, better daily rewards, and things like that. And then I would immediately start doing variant completion runs, because variant completion runs are actually kind of like a not so hidden gem for newer players and building up their accounts as they award reasonable amount of shards. But the biggest value in those variant completion runs are the rank up gems and the catalysts that they represent, and they kind of let you significantly widen the reach of your account, and you can start picking and choosing which champions you end up ranking. And those rank up gems are a vital kind of like step in progressing to you having better diverse roster. So I'd be actually singularly focused on trying to complete as many of them as possible. Obviously, whichever ones you do earlier, whichever ones you do later, that is entirely roster based. If you have a lot of XL champions, you can go for variant 2. If you happen to have a lot of villain champions, then that's like variant 6, or a lot of hero champions, variant 7, so on and so forth. Ultimately, as a rule of thumb, you kind of want to go from higher number to lower number, because latest 3 variants have by far the best rewards, and even if they're not as easy necessarily, they reward you a lot better. Then variant 4, objectively, I believe personally, the easiest variant to complete. And then variants 3 and 2, I think, are harder and also a bit longer and less rewarding. But still, again, pending which champions you have access to, might be the best choice for you. It's also important to note that at around this early stage, you want to pay attention to getting into an alliance that focuses on AQ. Get as much glory as you can, because getting those catalysts is going to be extremely important. And the second bit is you want to push yourself as early as possible on monthly side events and try and get the highest difficulties of them done, because there is a ton of resources, shards, and everything else comparatively to pretty much anything else you will be able to earn. Also, keep in mind that any monthly side event content stuff is there and it's gone. It's not coming back. Any permanent content is always going to be there. Permanent content, to a degree, can be looked at as a piggy bank, which holds rewards that you can go and pick up at any time you're capable. Monthly event content and temporary content comes and goes, so it's quite often you're in pickle to prioritize whichever content does have that expiry date on. Right, so let's move back up here. Then you're going to start to establish your roster, and this is the ideal point when to focus more on alliance stuff, when to focus more on monthly side event stuff, when to focus more on different monthly event quests as you start exploring Act 5. Exploring Act 5 is more important than many people realize because it also holds a ton of experience, and as you are exploring Act 5 and potentially Act 4 at any given point, you want to put on those XP boosts, because if you are not a paying player, one of the bigger complaints that I have heard from many people is that I have a tier 5 class catalyst, I have enough tier 5 basic catalysts, but my inventory space is not big enough. And your inventory space gets improved and made large enough either by purchasing Summoner's Sigil, which is not an option for everybody, or getting to that level 60. So that's quite important, and do not kind of like miss the trick there. You do want to hit that level 60 quite early. You might feel cool for achieving a lot of stuff with a low level, but level is fairly arbitrary in this game. It really doesn't matter whether you level 35, 45, 55, whenever you finish any given piece of content, end result is always level 60, and you do want to pay attention to getting there. A lot of people forget that level 60 is actually important. And then once you have explored Act 5, I sincerely believe that exploring variant content is by far the best effort for reward. It's a reasonable, feasible content to do. Now, you can use as low ranked champions as 5-star rank 3s, maxed out 4 stars, put up some boosts, or ideally you want to have at least rank 4, 5 stars, and whatever about that. But variant exploration also gives you significant higher access to getting more champions to rank 5 with the rank up gems, getting a ton more champions to rank 4 level with the yearly rank up gems and class rank up gems that you get for exploring them. And especially now, when so many champions are getting buffed, and when so many champions that are targets for these 2016, 2017, 2015 rank up gems, they are super valuable for every single progressing player. They really are. You guys cannot underestimate the power those rank up gems are going to have for your account growth, because this is going to be the point when you can have extra 10, 12, 15 rank 4, 5-star champions that will let you be significantly more capable in dealing with side event quests, with cap EQs, with monthly event stuff, and stuff like that. Definitely want to explore as many variants as early as possible. Once that has been achieved, once you have explored several of these variants, not necessarily all of them, you want to get your eye to Act 6 completion. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Act 6 seems like content out of place. Many and most people will leave exploration of Act 6 to as late in the game as possible, or might not ever get around to it. Overall, Act 6 is a different kind of beast compared to vast majority of content in this game. Everything you have done thus far is relatively mild. Act 6 is out there to get you. Completion runs are significantly less painful, but they will still grab you. They will still catch you off guard. Some of the bosses definitely will. And you will more than likely end up using more items, or plenty of items, than you did exploring variants and stuff like that. But that's why it comes later. Because completing Act 6 is also obviously one of the 2 key requirements to becoming Thronebreaker. How to get it done at some point. And I think after having several rank 5 champions from from exploring variants, and having plenty of rank 4 5 stars and maybe a couple of rank 2 6 stars, that is a time when you tackle Act 6, at the very least initial completion one. Now, once Act 6 has been completed, slowly start exploring 6.1. Now, you can do it later as well, but my personal recommendation is to explore 6.1. Even perhaps you finish 646 quest, just so you have access to that 25% tier 5 class catalyst fragment, and you are better informed in what you want to pick up with your selectors from 7.1, 7.2, and possibly completion offers of 7.1 and 7.2. But and 6.1 is relatively easy compared to everything else in Act 6. And then once you go down that, my recommendation again is go on, explore, complete 7.1 and 7.2. Just blitz through it. 7.1 and 7.2 is a lot more mild than Act 6 was, and the rewards you significantly better. Now, obviously, do your research, look up the Gwynmaster fight, just like you did Grandmaster fight before you try and push through. And then there is another key bit of advice. My personal advice is, in order to ensure that you are able to become Thronebreaker as early as possible, before you complete 7.1 and before you do complete 7.2, spend a bit of time building up your resources and, most importantly, grinding out the units. 7.1 and 7.2 both have completion offers that are 3,500 units. I'm actually gonna mark it down here so people don't forget it. Completion offers. Completion offers. Now both of them do have these completion offers. That can be a significant shortcut to becoming Thronebreaker, because they come with selectors of 15 and 20%, and combined with the selector that you get from Act 6 completion, combined with the tier 5 class catalyst fragments you have earned from monthly event stuff and from variants and possibly 6.1, at this point, realistically, you can already become Thronebreaker. That is very, very feasible. That completing 7.1 and 7.2 and purchasing these offers, you are Thronebreaker. That's why the transition to these greenfields now. I do think that that is more or less kind of the time when I can see realistically people becoming Thronebreakers at 0.7, 0.8. And then obviously you immediately unlock all of the Korean's challenges, which some of them are in fact an absolute treat. And 5 of them, to be exact, can be done relatively minimal to no item commitment. And most beautifully, 3 of them, 2 of them, don't even require any roster commitment because you end up using 3-star champions. So, the guide would be, you still want to focus on exploring 7.1 and 7.2 because even though 7.2 rewards were in general, relatively underwhelming compared to people's expectations, there's still some good amount of stuff in there. Then you probably want to start with either Mystic Dispersed or 1992 to 1997 Korean's Challenge. Both of these challenges can very easily be done with no item use or no significant item use. Mystic Dispersed focuses on 3-star champions, which are very easy to rank up, and you will have plenty of them. I have guides up for every single Korean's Challenge if you want to learn more. And then 1992 to 1997 is also very easy to complete challenge. Basically, if you have 5-star rank 3 or rank 4 rogue, you can do it itemless, or if you have managed to get a Wolverine, or you can do it with plenty of different champions as well. But those 2, I would say, are the easiest. Then we have the Astral Anger, which is 625. 625 at this point, you might not have too pleasant memories because it is arguably the worst quest. But as far as Korean's challenges go, as long as you have relatively decent cosmic roster, and again, keep in mind, all of these Korean's challenges can be mix-matched depending on what options do you have. But Astral Anger, you just need to do 1 path and 625, which will ultimately help you later on when you can start exploring Act 6. But in general, yeah, just get 1 path done, look up some guides, and you can use a handful of revives, but it's still a very good amount of rewards. After that, we have Asgardian Cheddar, which is 546 with 3-star Loki. Takes a while, but it can be done relatively cheap as well, with a handful of revives, because that's kind of the entire idea along that point. And lastly, I do think that Super Punch Out, if you do happen to have 6-star Kamala, or if you have reserved one of those variant gems to take up your Kamala to rank 4, I think eventually at some point you might as well just take her to rank 5. I do not recommend bringing rank 4 Kamal Khan because it immediately makes challenge a lot harder. I do recommend taking Kamal Khan as a 5-star to rank 5. I think 5-star rank 5 is significantly better than 6-star rank 2 as well, and doing that one. But at this point you can kind of like probably pick and choose, and you're going to be more keyed in on what you want and what you don't want to do in the game. Then we have Abyss here now, and I call it in Abyss because you can realistically do Abyss much earlier or later if you want. If you have decent Abyss options, and we are getting more and more introduced in the game, especially for completion runs, you can do Abyss significantly earlier on. If you pull that Aegon or Strife and you're confident with Strife, or if you pull some, I don't know, Helen, Odin, or something else that can do that completion path, you can push it up. And likewise, if you don't like long-term content, if you don't like hoarding rank items and revives, you can just push it down and do it later, especially if it doesn't kind of like hold that Thronebreaker lure value there for you. If you're already Thronebreaker, there's no real reason to rush Abyss. And yeah, so these are kind of interchangeable, entirely based on your capabilities, your preferences, your roster, once again. But overall, this is more or less where I'd place them in terms of how valuable using items on that piece of content I personally feel. And then we're gonna have the worst of Karina's challenges. I think Karina's O Canada challenge is actually not too bad, but it will inevitably take quite a lot of items. And again, if you have chosen between doing O Canada or Abyss, you'd rather do Abyss, right? It does reward significantly more than that single Karina's challenge. But O Canada is perfectly decent option as well for people to do quite early on. And then you want to start exploring Act 6 at some point. That is probably pretty much, well, some of the most taxing hard content. And truth to be told, when 7.3 and 7.4 comes out, then these still are probably going to be the last piece of content you ever want to touch. Because when it comes to effort required compared to rewards earned, Act 6 is abysmal. Like, Act 6 in itself, like, there are many aspects that I personally like, my vast majority of the people hate, but nobody can deny the fact that the amount of effort, knowledge, skill, nerves required to do Act 6 versus how much it rewards you for having explored them is just awful. It really is quite shit. So you probably want to reasonably delay it to as long as possible. And then the last ones are the Karina's challenges that are item pits. There is no other word for these. They do not feel like challenges, they feel like slow and painful offers that you pay with pieces of your soul and revives. Especially with Mike's Revenge, when you're next to that collector with 3-star Cyclops, it just feels like you're next to a slot machine that accepts tokens of your will to live, and slowly but surely you lose them all. Unquestionably, overkill content that literally is just toll. It's not a challenge. There's no way for you to feel amazing for having done it. But it is a permanent piece of content, and it is something that does have significant rewards. And if you have completed everything else, and these are literally the last things that you have left in game, and you're determined to get them done, then you get them done. But yes, those 3 Korean challenges can go and sit on a fat dildo as far as I'm concerned. Right. That being said, the last final notes once again. Road to the Labyrinth is actually very neat way how to get few units in a pinch. Same as classic way. Okay, I'm gonna write this one in here as well. Road to the Labyrinth. Whoopsies. Road to the Labyrinth. And classic variants are neat, small, well, unit grind options. You can just run completion runs in the lowest version to go to the Labyrinth. It's absolutely not needed. The rewards are completely outdated, but it takes very little energy, and completing every quest does reward you some units. And it's quite similar with the classic variants, where you still get some units for completing them. You can earn some mastery cores, and it's just quite neat little nuance to know. And in general, as well, quite neat advice is if you do not want to tackle any bigger piece of content at any given point, you can always dump your energy into completing lower difficulty monthly event quests for the first time, like heroic and normal and masters and whatever. And those will also obviously let you earn some units. I always make sure that I do at the very least completion runs of every single difficulty every single month, just to get some extra units. And Labyrinth, you can kind of put in anywhere you want, somewhere at this point, completing Act 6, exploring Act, basically starting from point 5, I'd say, depending how confident you are. But in my opinion, Labyrinth is still very much so worth doing. Maybe not for the same reasons as it was before, but still, the Tier 2 Alpha is useful, the 5-star Generic Awakening gem is useful, and all of those Tier 4 class catalysts are still very, very useful. So if you have like a really good option, like a Colossus or Aegon or some of the other like top tier options for Labyrinth, and guides for that are again available on the channel, then it is very much so worth doing. If and actually I recommend doing it. And the last, once again, couple pieces of advice: try push yourself early in monthly side events. For newer accounts, there's huge amount of rewards. And lastly, it's very, 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 very important to join decent, good, active alliances early on that focuses on alliance quest, lets you earn glory, because that can help you get any missing resources. And on top of that, if you join a good alliance, it's a place where a lot of knowledge gets shared, where a lot of love for the game gets shared, and you are more likely to enjoy the game, be more invested, and be more active in the game if you are a part of a good group of people sharing that between themselves. That is about it. That is how I rank all of the permanent top tier content, and that would more or less be my route to, well, higher, upper levels of the game, starting from, yes, becoming Cavalier. And yeah, I hope you guys found this useful. I don't think I will share this spreadsheet because there's not much to share. You guys can just take screenshots and pause as and when you please. And yeah, I hope at least some of you have found this video useful. And if you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the good buttons. And I will indeed catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information